If you want to see two guys that are more defiant and should be locked up more than Donald John, go to www.NTTFGPOD.com and subscribe. I'm Rock.
And I'm Archie.
Well, our opinions, they might not matter to some, but...
What are you doing in there?
It's a podcast.
Immature, crass, trashy. And those are their good qualities. These poor schmucks are a couple of IQ points away from eating paste. But when it comes to music, sports, and comedy, well, that's all they know. You're listening to
Not These Two Fucking Guys.
Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
Thank you for sticking with me and that Mama Luke for 3 seasons. Season 4 is upon us. New season, new look. And we want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch every episode at NTTFGPOD on YouTube. Thank you so much for your support, and God bless. Archie,
Yo.
I am so excited for our guest this evening.
Oh, yes.
Our guest tonight is one of the most recognizable figures in combat sports. You've seen him ringside, you've seen him cage side, and you've even seen him on the big screen. Please welcome to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast, Mr. Jacob Stitch Duran. What's up, pal?
What's going on, Rocco? What's going on, Archie?
Hey. So,
We are happy to have you. Thank you so much for taking the time today to speak to us. We've been big fans for a long time. So what have you been up to lately? Let's get right into it.
Where have you been, bro? Got every weekend booked, man. Of course, Creed 3 just came out. You know, it's a blockbuster movie, and it's nice to be Michael B. Jordan Cutman in the movies, and just finished the fight with Caleb Plant. Great fight that he fought. Benavides, and here I am. I'm talking to you guys, so got the trifecta with you guys.
All right.
yeah, that's it. Well, we are the most important out of those 3. So you understand.
If I can't talk my shit, what can I do? That's no good. Yeah, can't brag about it.
What good is it?
Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. Right from the most recent. You just mentioned Creed 3.
Yeah.
You've been in that series. Talk a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, it's a blessing. You know, I farthest thing from I ever thought of being in movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm Michael's Cutman in the movies, right? And
Crazy.
Every day, 6 weeks at a time, I wrap his hands. It's just him and I in his dressing room or the trailer, wherever we're at. And so, so we talk. We talk as me as a coach, getting this guy ready for battle, and him as an actor, but as friends.
Yeah.
And on the last one, Creed 2, I'm wrapping his hands, and let me go back. In Creed 1, or about the 5th week, I'm wrapping his hands, and I'm looking at him like I'm looking at you guys, and I said, Michael, I'm gonna knight you as a fighter, man, because you're representing our sport at the highest level. And I did, the kind of blessed me. And he did good, right? But on this next one, Creed 2, once again, I'm wrapping his hands, and I'm telling him how proud I am of him and Ryan Coogler, who directed Creed, and Tessa Thompson and Steve Campbell that directed Creed 2. And Michael looks at me and says, Stitch, he goes, we went from being actors to writers, producers, and directors, and looks straight in my eyes and says, I'm directing Creed 3, and you're with me as long as you want.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a blessing, man.
That's awesome. That's
such a good kid. And, he relied a lot on me on making a lot of things authentic, And so, yeah, it's been a blessing.
So
awesome.
Obviously what you do for a living, you have to have nerves of steel. You have to be a calming influence when, most of the time you're dealing with somebody, whether before the fight, during the fight, where they're taking damage. And and you have to have nerves of steel. How does that translate over to a movie set?
And I'm choking in the movie sets. Nah, it's pretty easy. I'm not an actor. I've never said I was an actor. I'm just blessed to be playing myself in the movies, right? But and those scenes that we're doing are all scenes I've done hundreds and hundreds of times, and it's just second nature, right? And I remember the first movie I ever made was with Woody Harrelson and Antonio Banderas. It was Play It to the Bone, and
Yeah.
and I remember Woody said, Stitch, don't ever look in the camera. I always know where the camera's at, but never look into it. And, that's something I've always done. But yeah, when it comes to acting with the whole dialogue and all that, it's not my nature.
Yeah. I can imagine.
You're just doing what comes naturally.
Well, yeah, see, that's the thing about it. And even, have you guys seen Creed 3, by the way?
Yes.
I did not yet.
Great movie.
Okay, yeah. So as you see it, when I was at the premiere for this one, Keenan Coogler, that's Ryan's brother that co-wrote Creed 3, he says, we gave you a lot of what they call center shots. And as you look at it, like I said, my dialogue, I don't have a lot of dialogue. A lot of my work is, a lot of what I do is through my actions. And they pictured, some of that and all that. So yeah, it's a blessing, yeah, just to be, I always say it, who's done 3 movies that you know of with Rocky?
There you go.
I know. I did Balboa and Rocky fought his first fight. I was in the corner with Antonio Dar, but nonetheless, I did a movie with Rocky, and then him and I were in the same corner, working with Creed. So yeah, and then 3 movies with Michael B. Jordan. So I've been blessed.
He's a very talented actor. One of my favorites out there now.
Yeah.
And like you said, I guess you've developed a pretty good relationship with him then.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and they're filming a documentary on my life right now.
Oh, no, that's awesome.
Michael came forward and gave us some time, gave these guys some time, and so yeah, we have a real good relationship, to the point as, now we're hugging each other and I love you, and
That's great.
you get that bond, but that's that same bond that I create with these fighters is they understand, that I'm there for one reason, and the only reason is to take care of them. And I did this fight with Caleb Plant over the weekend.
Yep.
Right. And so this picture went out. His wife Jordan sent me this picture, but it kind of demonstrate that the relationship that I have with these fighters. But I got to show you this picture because I don't even know if it's up there yet. But Caleb, when we see it's
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Caleb came up to me, and we're in the dressing room, as I started getting things ready, to wrap his hands, and he comes and gives me a hug and says, I love you. Man, bro, those are moments that are precious.
Yeah. I can.
That's gotta be just an amazing emotional experience. And I know Caleb Plant has one hell of a story too.
Yeah.
But so talk about that, like the emotional connection you get with a fighter. I've seen interviews with you. You talk about it, how in the dressing room when you talk, but when you're in the moment, in the corner, trying to, you have to have obviously you have that calming influence, and it's like a poker face because if you look at the fighter like holy shit, I guess it wouldn't bode well for the fighter in that situation.
No, not too good. Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up because Vitor Belfort, when I was with the UFC, he says his quote was, when I see Stitch coming into the dressing room, even though I know he's working in the other corner, he brings that calming effect. Right.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, that's something, like I always say, man, Rocky and Archie, these guys, they're modern day gladiators, but deep inside, they're all babies. And my job is to take care of the baby.
Yeah.
They understand that, and I've had great moments with so many great fighters. And that's what it's all about.
So it's like you are the cut man, but you're more than that to these people.
Yeah,
you're a voice. You're a voice in that octagon, in the ring. I could just imagine. I mean, I saw a video of almost like a compilation of some of your of the fighters that you worked on and the cuts and the bruises, and I saw one. I'm like, I'm fucking going right to MD. I'm going right to the emergency center. Like, and I hear these calming terms that you're, well, you know, if it goes right to the bone, it's not going to go much more than that. And you know, if it like what? I be getting in the car, help.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
you're a voice in there, man.
Yeah, so psychology is so important, right? And like I could teach you how to be a cut man, but I can't teach you how to take care of these fighters because you have to experience that. You have to go through that. And I mean, I've had so many guys just, you know, tell me they love me and they hug me and I take care of them, right? And that kid, what's his name? Drago, I remember, he was fighting Matt Brown and he got knocked out by Matt Brown, and he's arguing with the referee and the doctor that no, I'm okay. Pete Sells.
Pete Sell, yeah.
Yeah, Pete Sells. I come up to him and I said, Drago, look at me. You got knocked out. He tells the doctor, the referee, Stitch, I believe. You know, and so I mean, yeah, great moments, man. And since I got you guys here, in the movie, Michael B. Jordan relied on me on authenticity. So he asked me, Stitch, who should give away the WBC belt? And I give him the story of Jose Sulaiman, Mexico City. And so they got this one guy to give the belt away. And he says, well, you know what? Let's take a picture and send it to the Klitschko's. Now, the Klitschko's are two brothers that I work with.
Yeah.
Fideli's 6'8" or 6'10", was the heavyweight world champ. Now he's a mayor of Kiev, and they're fighting Russia. Vladimir, let's go work with him for 8 years. He's the voice of Ukraine, you know, for sport and all that. So he says, well, let's send him a picture and, you know, wish him good luck. I'm going to let you guys listen to this, man, because you guys have. So Vladimir sent me this message, and well, I'll let you listen to it, and then you tell me, you know, the relationship that I have with these type of fighters. And here's a good example.
Specialist Stitch, with whom I spent so much time talking, and he actually saved my career on a lot of different stages. If Stitch wouldn't be in my corner, I would not make the record of 12 years being a champion. So that's so great to see both, as Stitch is the man.
Badass, huh? Yeah,
That's awesome.
Well,
Awesome.
the thing that makes it special is they're right in the middle of the war. You know, for me to have, or if we ever gotten out of that mental game into at least boxing and me taking care of them, to me it meant so much, man. When I first heard it, it just kind of gave me chills and probably a tear or two, you know. So I love these guys, but it's the relationship we have. And so going into this story, Archie, I'll tell you, my last fight with him when he lost his world title, we're in Wembley Stadium, 90,000 with Anthony Joshua. So I didn't see Vladimir Vitaly till Friday because my daughter Carla had gotten married Wednesday and I flew in Thursday night. But I see him in the dressing room and finally we go through everything, you know, talking, getting together and all that.
Yeah.
Put my hand on him. I said, you know, don't worry about nothing tomorrow. I'm going to take care of you like you're my son. And I leave because I know, you know, they can't sleep at night.
Yeah.
And I'm putting the final Vaseline on it before Michael Buffer does the announcements. And we're this far apart. He says, between him and I, he says, you could call me son. Bro, that gave me chills, man.
Yeah, dude.
He called the greatest fight he's ever been in. And he calls me after, Daddy. But
That's fantastic.
The finale to this is I see him in Germany months later.
Mm.
And I said, Vladimir, that moment, why? And he knew. He said, Stitch, there's very few people I trust with my life. You are one of them.
Wow.
Bro. So now you understand, you know.
That's the highest compliment you could
understand.
pay to somebody.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you the first time in a movie for me was in Ocean's 11 when you were Vladimir Klitschko's cutman, and to me you spoke about before, you said the word authenticity. That scene and the scenes that you're in, even in Rocky Balboa and in Creed, they're so authentic because as being a fight fan, it feels like, holy shit, this is like the real deal right here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you say Ocean's 11. I just thought the other day.
Yeah.
And so the story with that is, now I told you how fate just takes you to certain places, right?
Mhm.
Well, December the 12th, 1991, I said 91, Vitaly says 92, but when the Soviet Union first broke, we took a team of professional boxers and kickboxers to Ukraine, to Kiev, to fight the Ukrainians. And the understanding I had that the promotional company were ex-KGB agents and they kept us money. So they did the first professional fights there. I mean, they treated us great.
Yeah.
Well, the Klitschko's were young at that time, but they were already superstars in their country.
Sure.
Both Olympians and all that. So I did meet them there, but when they started training in Vegas, I brought those moments up and we had a connection then. So in the movie, I was his cut man, and then after that movie, he tells Emmanuel Stewart when he came back, because he lost his world title, came back and he fought Devereux Williamson, and Vladimir told Emmanuel Stewart, I want the guy that was my cut man in the movie,
Wow.
cut man, and that's how we hooked up.
Whew.
Yeah. Crazy, I'm telling you, shit just happened.
If only somebody would have told that little boy on the farm many years ago that this would have been happening.
Bro, that's my whole inspiration is growing up as a farm worker, born and raised in a migrant camp. And I mean, you don't get much lower than that, right? In life and economics, but we were healthy. We didn't know we were poor, but we picked up good values.
Yeah.
And hey, listen, I talked about it today, Archie, or yesterday when I was in the gyms. I said, man, it still blows my mind when there's 100,000 people watching me and I'm right in the middle, So those are moments that, but I always tell people if it could happen to me, it could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm no different than anybody else.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead, Archie.
well, I want to, speaking of moments, I just want to know something for myself. I'm very inquisitive about something like this. You've done so many fights. But when you got somebody, when you're in someone's corner and maybe a title's on the line or it's big money, like this could set this fighter, and you see him struggling, where's the line? Where's the line that like, I might have to, help this guy out some way, somehow. Tell me where the line would be when the guy's riding on something, but he's hurt, you know what I'm saying? And you got to make a judgment call there.
Good question. I'll give you a good answer right now. It happened Saturday. All right. Kano match fighting David Benavidez is a great fight. I mean, it's a tough fight. And Kano was doing strong in the beginning, Benavidez came on strong at the end. And towards the end of the 11th round, our coach, Breadman, does a great job. He's talking about stopping the fight. And I'm looking at the time and there's like, a minute, 45 seconds left for that round. And I said, no. My job, but I understand. No. Let him finish up at least in the round. And he sat down and I whispered in his ear, I said, man, think of stopping the fight. Go out there, man, stay in the middle, stay off the ropes. And my job's not to give instructions, but they know if I say something, it's the truth. And but he ended up finished the fight, right? And that was another rock because we were walking in and shit, bro. All these Mexicans, they're booing the shit out of Caleb, right? And people are telling me because I'm Mexican, right? Saying Mexicans are gonna hate you. So we walk in booing and all that. But it was such a great fight that they were cheering him and he was walking out. And so that was one moment. Another moment with Andre Durrell when he fought Jose Escaligi. He was in DC, I think, at the MGM. And he's taking the kind of shots that give you long-term damage I look at.
Yeah.
They come out here, right? And the referee or the doctors are sitting down and they're talking amongst themselves. And I start working on them. And I said, Anthony, the doctors are thinking of stopping the fight. Do you want to continue? And he gave me a little just like this. Yeah. I stopped the fight and the coach didn't know. And no. I said, no. Once you say no,
you're
already beat.
Sure.
And, people didn't understand, but the next morning, him and his wife called me like 8 a.m. and thanked me. Said, I didn't have nothing in me, you know.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, those are moments, like say, it's, you know, just through a lot of work. And that's an excellent question, is you have to understand what these guys are going through and where they're at mentally and physically. Okay, he looked really strong. You know, that 12th round, he ran flurries off, you know, and at least you know, got the respect of the whole world now. So, because of his courage.
Yeah. What was the worst thing you had to work on, but the fight kept going? Because there's some things where you see a cut, okay, you work on it, they stop the fight. What was the worst damage that you can remember? I mean, you've done so many fights. If you can't pick up one, I understand, but there had to have been one where you're like, holy shit, I thought they were going to stop this thing.
Yeah, actually, Raul Marquez, I was with him Saturday. He does the Spanish commentating for Showtime now, but he was the IBF champion, and he fought Keith Mullins when Oscar De La Hoya fought Hector Macho Camacho, and Raul ended up with
Macho Camacho.
Oh, you know, and it's really kind of like my coming out party when I moved to Las Vegas, and my hands are here, and so he ends up defending his world title and ended up like 70 stitches or something like that.
Wow.
So that was my coming out party, but that's the one that said, "Dang, you know, I kept them in the game." But there's quite a few guys, and it's quite inspiring, and it's a great feeling when you know you have something to do with the guy winning a fight, and even so, you have something to do when you know you're taking care of a fighter.
Now you don't have to name any names, but do you regret any fights? Do you regret any, like, I think I should have stopped that? I think I should have stopped that. Do you have like maybe any other under your belt?
Oh, you know, so surprisingly enough, no. You know, I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of good fighters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where a lot of them are usually the A fighters type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've been blessed with that. You know, like I say, my job is not to give instructions as a cutman, right? That's right. But I always tell these guys, and they know through my experience. I mean, I've worked with so many great trainers and so many great fighters that I have to absorb something, right? And in that, my only thing is safety, you know. And if I see something that I know that a fighter would be at a disadvantage, then of course I would make that call.
Got it.
And but too, you know, I mean, I've made calls. It was in the bare knuckle fights. Can't remember. I will throw the names out, but the girl had first round right there, just a real thin cut. It's like a razor blade cut.
Yeah.
And in the bare knuckle fights, I love their rule, but because they're all going to get cut or high probability. When the referee called timeout, they bring them to me. The doctor evaluates them as I work on them to see if they can continue. And Dan Mergliotti was a referee. He said, "Stitch, you got 30 seconds. They'll give you 30 seconds to evaluate." And I said, "No, I don't need it." And of course, she wants to go out there. I said, "No. When you go in the dressing room and you look at yourself in the mirror, you'll thank me." Right? That was the kind of cut. That was the kind of cut that could have created a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And you know, she wouldn't be like this forever. So,
Jesus.
So those are moments that through experience, you know, you can be macho, and that's why a lot of father-son combinations very hard to work with, because the fathers, you know, they want to take that extra step and sometimes you got it. But it's an excellent question.
Yeah, I remember, and again, I know you always get asked about this. You know, rewind back. You spoke out against the Reebok deal for UFC. One of the times where I really Dana White really, like, to me, made me it made me check his character when he said Stitch and I were never friends. Like, to me, that was just so fucked up for a guy who talks about being loyal and that kind of stuff. I'm like, wow, all right. And what struck me was the fighters, the backlash against that, and how many fighters spoke out, and you can't manufacture that. That's real. That's real love. That's real care. That's real attachment that these fighters had to you. That had to feel like $1 million during a shitty situation.
Yeah, you know, it was crazy, and it was a crazy time. And if you got time, I'll give you the whole story.
Yeah,
please. So I knew Dana before the UFC, right? And he always said he was in the boxing, but he trained. He did pad work for the housewives of the executives and the executives and the Fertitas, great guys. And and he was always with them, right? They're the ones that bought the UFC. So I knew Dana before that, and he brought me in. I got to give him credit because originally the UFC #1 only had one cutman. That was Leon Tabs from Philadelphia. And they brought Leon. He was the only guy that came on board from that original UFC. So Dana brought me in to have a cutman on each corner because these guys didn't know how to wrap hands or work cuts. So he was good enough to bring in professional cutmen. And that's how it all started. And I became the primary cutman, and I would have sponsors. Tap Out was my first sponsor. One More Round, Zions, all these guys.
Yeah.
I would negotiate for me, and then I would negotiate for Archie and for Rocco. And, not as much, but enough for you to, Leon Tess bought a Cadillac. With the 3 additional sponsors, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so they take the sponsors away because I needed the UFC to make my money through sponsors. UFC was paying shit, and they're still paying the poor cutmen nothing. I think the arenas get paid more than the cutmen. And so anyway, they take away the sponsors and they get the cutmen together, and there's like 10, 12 of us now throughout the United States, and they say, well, we're taking away the sponsors, no more sponsors. And once again, I try to renegotiate for everybody.
Yeah.
And there's no money. And all right. So anyway, John, God, forgot his name, from BloodyElbow.com, John Nash, called me. I don't even know the guy. And said, hey, would you be interested in doing an interview how the Reebok deal affected the cutmen? So going back, Archie, to me being a farm worker, my parents fought for the rights with Cesar Chavez. And as a farm worker, right? So I thought, man, if I don't do it, I wouldn't be able to follow the tradition. So, I did. The interview is very politically correct, but it just went viral. Maybe because I said maybe I should concentrate a little bit more on boxing. So anyway, I'm at Costco and I get a call from my friends and, hey, are you available? And nah, man, if I knew what it was about, because I'm getting all these messages and the article it went viral, and I'm getting calls and everywhere. And so I said, nah, I'll be home in an hour. And right here where I'm sitting at, an hour later, my friends called me, and their voice is shaking. And the only thing they say is, because of the interview you did about Reebok, the UFC is not going to use you no more. And bam, kind of hit me. I said, all right, well, you tell Mark, do me a favor. You tell Dana. I said, he ain't got no balls that he should have called me since he's the one that brought me in. So I'm listening. I'm getting all these texts. And first guy I respond to, I say, I want you to be the first to know. UFC let me go. We're speaking about the Reebok deal. Got to find a new job. And bro, I got offers from all over the world. I did 57 interviews in a week. I became the face of the rebellion, right?
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, the dust is settling, right? Shit, the guy from Reebok called me. I'm having breakfast with my wife and my son, and I put the speakerphone on. Mike says, Stitch, you're a good guy. Just want to let you know, man, we had nothing to do with it. It was that big, bro.
Wow.
And it was that big. And then Dana blows it 2 weeks later. The dust is settling, and he ends up blowing it by saying, Stitch and I were never friends. And that's a meme. People still, they're still throwing that out there. And they were responding with, I got support from all over the world, bro. 57 interviews, camera crews coming to my house and everything. Now, you're talking about going fast forward. It's been 8 years. I did the first Creed, and Wesley Stipe comes up to me and checks my hand and says, hey, man, UFC did you right. Did you wrong.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it was like me and you, bro.
Yeah.
And one of the young royals in Dubai, F Dana, man, not a respect for you. But the best one I've gotten is Luis Doria that trained Anderson Silva and other Brazilian fighters. We did, during the COVID, we did boxing shows at the Pubble at the MGM here. I hadn't seen this guy in 7, 8 years. And he has his tray, and he comes to my table, and he says, Stitch, we, the coaches, the fighters, we thank you for speaking up because we couldn't. Bro.
Yeah.
And I'm satisfied 100%. But it still goes on all over the world. All over the world, people stop me. Fuck Dana, fuck UFC, fuck Reebok. And, So speak up for what's right.
That's good, man.
And listen, with all due respect to the UFC, you didn't need them before, and you certainly don't need them now. And it looks like you probably benefited more off of that than had you stayed there. And what I can't understand is, and I really haven't no one has really given me a good answer for it. Is I understand they want a captive audience. They want, now they're with Venom. They want for the fight kits, this and that. But why can't, like you said, cutmen have sponsors, and even the fighter? Okay, we understand they're wearing the Reebok shit, they're wearing the Venom stuff, but why can't they gain money through other avenues? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't. But I understand. And, when I did the interview, it's a good question also, is I worked corporate America for 23 years. So I worked with RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company. So I knew sales and marketing and how to get stuff up in corporate America. But when we first started with the UFC, I think there was like 12 members for the company. And when Dana brought me in, and then we were names, and then you go into the corporate status, and then you go into numbers. And when you deal with numbers, you deal with profit at the end of the year.
Sure.
And unfortunately, there's people you're going to step on to get up to the top. And I understand that, but I don't play that game. That's not me.
Good.
Well, we appreciate you stepping up as the fighters do. Like you said, how he said to you, we couldn't. You did it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That said everything to me. We I never forget. We the coaches, the fighters, we thank him for speaking up because we could. Bro, I'm satisfied. And it's funny, one of my old friends, his son, when I was with the 86ers, they made different shirts, and one is UF and then CSEE. So UFC, me now.
That's fantastic.
And then there was another one with me with a picture, the rebellion begins today. Well, the guy just posted it today on Facebook, and I just kind of shared it, and now people are, hey, where can I get that shirt? But those were during the radical days, right? But you know what? I'm always fighting for the betterment of the game, for doing things, and even my daughter Carla and Rose Gracie, one of the daughters to one of the Gracie people, and this other guy Kurt, they've implemented a couple of programs on their own where in these major commissioners, because see, none of us have to be certified to be called professional. None of us. You get $50 to get a license, you're a pro. And that's why you see so many guys doing shitty stuff. So my daughter and this group have initiated a test for each commission. When you apply your license, you got to go through the test on CTE. That's the big thing now, to mention.
Sure.
And the questions are true and false, but it's not to flunk, it's to understand. One question is, does sparring create CTE? True or false? Yeah, it does. Simple things. So they implemented that, but then now they also, with the ABC, the Association of Boxing Commission that oversees all the governing bodies in the United States, now there's going to be 10 retired fighters that are going to be on their panel for the ABCs to start making decisions regarding fighters. And Landing Couture and Yvette, I think she named a bunch of the guys that I know them all. And so now they're going to be on the board, and they're going to have a voice. So slowly but surely things are working out. And I'll send you, contact me, I'll send you a documentary I made like 23 years ago, Rocky and RG. It was, I always wanted to do videos on education, rapid hands, working cuts. This young guy, John Bartonhouse, graduated from the American Film Institute, and he read an article, me saying that, so he wanted to help me. Well, we ended up getting so many interviews with so many people that are Hall of Famers now. Mike Tyson, a week before he got his tattoo, just a bunch of guys. But knowing, and the reason I'm bringing this up is I hadn't seen this film in 15 years.
Yeah.
We get basically a zero budget with a little bit of money, but it came out. As I look at it, John O.D. about 3 months ago on fucking fentanyl in bed. He was up in Colorado and broke my heart. And so I hadn't seen this film in about 15 years, but I look at it and I'm thinking, man, everything that's a problem now with MMA, with combat sports, we talked about it then. All right. And everybody had a solution for that. Where should the money come for, to protect these guys, an association. Can't have unions because, unions are, but you can have associations and you can have a governing body where, let's say, Archie, you're in the gym, you break your hand and you don't have insurance. Well, ABC, if you're a member of so and so, then they'll handle that cost. Very simple. But
Gotcha.
Mark Ratner, that's with the UFC now, says that's when he was the head commissioner for the Nevada State Athletic Commission. It's very simple. He goes, the money comes from pay-per-views. Everybody that has a pay-per-view, 25 cents off a ticket, put it into this fund, and then from there you could have people that advise you on contracts that, so and so, but the money comes from the pay-per-view. So, Rocco, send me your email. I'll look at you. Archie, send it to Archie. You guys take a look at this, at the issues that we brought up, and we'll do another show. We'll talk about it because I think it's extremely important. Listen, for boxers, I got Mike Tyson. I said before he got his tattoo, but he gave me some great shit. He says one of the interviews is, he goes, guys like me, Oscar De La Hoya, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, some of the money we get, put it in there. We don't need it. We got, very simple. He said that, but for boxers, we had Mike Tyson, Fernando Vargas when he was going to fight Felix Trinidad, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, and Rocky Gannon. Referees, we had all the legends. All these guys are legends now. Joe Cortez, Richard Steele, Mills Lane, Emmanuel Stewart, Chuck Bodak. All these guys, they're all legends. They all came forward. So please send me, man.
I'd love to see that.
And that's got to be a trip too. Seeing some of the folks talk about Mills Lane, Manuel Store, guys that are not with us anymore. Being able to see that, wow.
Yeah, and to get there, I mean, listen, it blew my mind. When I looked at it, I really didn't realize what I had then, but I know what I have now. And if we could bring it out, to the public, for me, there's no money interest at all. It's education. And if, this helps build up a program where we could fund these fighters somehow. And like Dementia Pugilistica, I got a great, one of my best friends that I worked for many, many years with, well, at the end of his career, he's in a house. He's dementia where I don't even go visit him no more because it breaks my heart. I don't want to go see him. I want to remember him the way we used to train together. And now and there's so many fighters that are taking that, and now it's starting to affect MMA and the Dementia Pugilistica. And I'll tell you why I know, because I've been gone from the UFC for 8 years, and when I first started with them, there was no speech pattern mix-up, none of that. But 8 years later, I run into some of these guys that I used to work with then, and the whole speech pattern has changed. It's happening in MMA now, and somebody has to do something. And if this little documentary, more people talk about it and share it as much as you want to whoever you want. You want to put it on your podcast, and unfortunately, when John passed away, because he lived in Denver, he had all the tapes. I only got this that I'm sending you, but
can't wait to see it.
Yeah, nonetheless, I mean, the master and all that. If I would have had the master, I would have. But it was done on a zero budget and his artistry. I did the interviews, but he did the editing, the artistry, and you remember Chuck Bodak, the shaman of boxing that got the tape there. We were filming. Originally, it was going to be called Chuck Bodak, the shaman of boxing, as a tribute to my mentor. And we had so much footage that we changed it. And anyway, Dick Marconi, that was from Herbalife. Chuck Bodak used to train him in Chicago when he was young. And he asked us, where you guys staying at? We lived in Las Vegas, and we filmed with Chuck in Tustin, California. I said, well, we're staying at this little motel. Shit, he took us to the Embassy Suites.
Wow.
A $10,000 check, and that's what we used for the editing. That was it. Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
So take a look at it, man.
I can't wait to see it. We had on last year Babalu Sobral, and he says that he has CTE, and that the onset marks. You remember, he can't remember things, and you said the speech pattern, and these were that was somebody who was a MMA pioneer, but took a lot of damage, through the years, and that's the heartbreaking part of it. That now these guys and gals now who put their lives on the line, when they're in their time of need, what do? What's their recourse?
Yeah, but there's nothing to take care of them, and that's the whole program. There's nothing, it's crazy.
I know.
Manny Sobral, a guy that I work with as a boxer from Canada, He was at the weigh-ins here in Las Vegas. But he's here in Las Vegas. They're doing the brain studies with Dr. Bernick. And it's been a long process. So he was here, and he's going to be here again next year. I said, please, I want to go with you. But I took this fighter that I'm talking about. I took him to Dr. Bernick, and he was part of that. So they're trying to do things, but it's nobody within the boxing industry that's doing it, and they have to get involved.
So you have that documentary. Can you talk about what you said before, that working on a documentary about your life now? Is there anything you could share with us in that process?
Yeah. Oh yeah, hey man, shit just happens. Well, first I wrote a book during the UFC days called "From the Fields to the Garden."
Fields to the Garden, yep.
Yeah, the field where I grew up was a farm worker. The garden was to make it to Madison Square Garden.
Sure.
Been there for both sports, MMA. And anyway, so going fast forward, when I got a call to write a book, I'm the kind of guy, you want to do it, let's do it. Rock, you call me, let's do a show. So I'm that kind of guy, right? Well, these guys offered a couple of times and nobody ever came through. And Zach Robinson from Germany, he's from Oklahoma, but he's a teacher in Germany for the military kids. He contacted me about writing a book. We did, it became successful. Anyway, going fast forward, I get a call. And Uriah Faber is one of the producers. He's not involved in the project, but he's one of the financial producers. They called me about doing the documentary, and I said, shit, let's do it. And From the Fields to the Garden. So by the grace of God, as soon as I signed with these guys, a week later, Triple G is fighting, of all places, the Garden. So I let these guys know, and the Zone, Triple G, the Garden gave these guys all access, and we got some primo film footage from that. And then the COVID kicked in.
Yeah.
And so they were blank for a while. And then when it kicked in again, we got interviewed Tyson Fury, Sean Porter for boxing, Shane Mosley Jr. For MMA, we got Javier Mendez, Velasquez, and then we went to my hometown, the farm workers, filmed them, and so they're doing editing now, and so let's put them in film festivals by the end of the year.
When do we see a release, you think?
By the end of the year, for sure.
Okay.
Like I say, Michael. So I'll tell you one of the things that Michael said that I thought was comical. Well, first of all, he said in the film that I'm one of the pillars of Greek, and so I'm that. But one of the historical funny is I'm in the dressing room wrapping his ass. Actually, I've done this 3 movies already, right?
Yeah.
I said, Michael, I said, do you know my real name? He says, well, Stitch. I said, no. You know my real name? He says, nah. Anybody know Stitch's real name? Nah, dude, no. So it's Jacob. No, you're not a Jacob. So that's one of the nice things that he said about me, man.
Yeah. Well, listen, before we let you go, there was one thing. So today, I'm eating lunch, and I knew about this, the whole John Jones, the toe, about that whole situation. But I didn't see the fight. I didn't look at it. I never looked at it. I looked at it today. I almost threw up my bucatini all over the place.
But he broke his toe in the fight. It was crooked, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
How
I was like this.
bro, his toe was making all right.
Yeah.
And how is it day in and day? Like, does anything ever turn your stomach? Anything?
Yeah, there was one. But let me tell you about this one is the toe like this, and the doctor saying, well, Stitch, what do we do? What do we do? Well, I got a high school diploma, man. So I got the toe, and I kind of popped and straightened it out, and I just came out with my new Stitch Premium Athletic tape, right?
Uh-huh.
I wrapped that shit around his toe. As you look at it, you can see the start of my tape, right? But the doctor says, Stitch, what do we do? And that was kind of crazy. But when Jonathan Gillette fought who did he fight? The guy from Jason Miller. He took, and this big vein that it pops, it bled, it popped, it cut like this. Cut was only about this big, but it severed that, and it bled like a pig. And I'm working on it. And the doctor says, "Can you stop it?" Yeah, no problem. But they had blood from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet, both full, and there was so much blood it made me nauseated. And I covered it with Vaseline and Adrenaline. blood just kept coming out of me. It was that was pretty raunchy. The rest, Matt,
You see the worst of it. We could I would love to have you back on. I want to watch what you send me. I can't wait to see your documentary when it comes out. I want to pick your brain. I love your stories. I love what you stand for, who you are in that community, who you are to the fighters, and to the fans too. And I just wanted to say it's been an absolute honor to talk to you, and so appreciate you giving us the time tonight.
No, of course, I enjoy doing this. It's barbershop talk, bro.
Yeah.
I got the best job in the world. I want to share with the stuff that I do. But I tell you, nobody's worked as many fights. Nobody's wrapped as many hands. Nobody's worked as many cuts as I have. Nobody. I don't give a shit.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
The fact that, and nobody's worked with as many world champions as me. And that's a blessing now. But I'm still that little Chicano kid that grew up as a farmer.
That's awesome.
Never forget where you come from.
I love awesome.
When the Creed movie, real quick, when the Creed movie came out, I saw it 4 times in 1 week. 2 times in LA for the premiere. Yeah. We had one here in Vegas. But then I bought 50 tickets and I went to my hometown of 1,500 people. It's like 2,000. But my special guests were the ones I grew up with in the migrant camp. And we're all adults now.
Oh, wow.
So them, they were my So then the other ones were guys I grew up with, from when I moved to town and all that. So 50 of us, it was sold out. But I went back and watched the Creed movie with them, And with that, I did an interview with the TV station, and I don't know where this quote came from. I'll let you guys know. But I said, we have a saying in Planada, that's my hometown. We have a saying in Planada that if you don't go back and water your roots, the tree's not going to grow. But if you notice my jackets on my collar, I always have Planada because that's the number 1 spot when the cameras are. I'm working on the fighter. I always contribute. Where you come from.
Down to earth. You don't get much down to earth in you, Bal.
You're the best. Where can everybody find you on social media?
At Stitch Duran, and I return. People say, "Is this you?" Yeah, it's me.
What do you want?
And I'll tell you why real quick. You remember Randall Cunningham?
Yes.
Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
Well,
he tormented our New York Giants for years. We know him well.
Yeah, okay, so you know him well, but So anyway, I before I moved to Vegas, I was still Jacob. I was named Stitch. I was working with a kickboxer, Dennis Alexio. We fought here, and after the fight, you have the after-fight party, right? So me and my 3 brothers are talking to Randall Cunningham, and this guy comes up to him, "Hey, Randall, come here. I want you to meet these guys." He says real quiet, he says, "Hold on." He says, "Let me finish talking to these guys." Bro, I never felt so important my whole life, man.
God, that's awesome.
And he's a pastor here in Vegas, and I've done this story hundreds of times, but I haven't met him yet. And I'm just waiting for that time when I know we'll meet him. I said, look, you just reinforce that this is the way you want to treat people.
Yeah.
That's what my parents were, and, good people.
Very cool.
To follow. So.
Very.
So appreciate it. You really have a connection. It looks like with everybody that comes in contact with you, and that's something special because a lot of people either just don't want to be bothered or could care less about their fellow human, but you are the exact opposite of that, and that's why you're beloved.
Yes, so we're walking out of the MGM, me and my 2 buddies that I invited as guests, and it takes about an hour to go through, bro. Everybody wants to take pictures and all that. He says, they goes, I understand why your wife don't want to come with you. but you got to give everybody attention, man. You got to make it so, little things make it go a long ways.
Very true, brother.
That's the best. I thank you so much, and I cannot wait to see what you send us.
Absolutely.
And
we'll reach back out, and can't wait to have you back on.
Yeah. We'll talk about some of the issues, that pertain to, the growth of this game and how we can make it better. And, the more people involved and the louder it gets, the education.
Love it.
All right. God bless you guys, man.
Thank you so much, man.
Great Jacob Stitch Duran. Thank you so much. Stay well, brother.
All right, you guys too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow.
He's such a good dude. We could. He's like that.
Wow.
the
That
guy
was
you could just like,
fun.
talk to, and that's and believe me, that's not even a fucking minuscule molecule
That's like not even
of the stories that he has.
that's like not even a stitch of what we would talk about.
Thank God he's off the call already. Jesus Christ, he would have just hung up. Hey, you know what, Arch? Fuck you.
His whole life, he's just been great to everybody. He's like,
Everybody, you're the first person you tell to go fuck themselves.
it'll be on like fucking MMA.com, whatever fucking website. Stitch Duran, the first person he was mean to. Hey Archie, go fuck yourself.
That's fantastic.
What a great guy. What a great guy.
Always busy, always has time for the fans, always.
Oh,
But I tell you that we talked about that shit that went on with Dana White. The fighters really came out in droves to support him. To it's fucked up, man. It's like you dedicate your whole life, to your craft, to the sport of mixed martial arts, to the UFC, the company. You give one interview, and by the way, go read the interview. Like he said, it's politically correct. It wasn't like he wasn't motherfucking the UFC or anything like that. And that's it. But you know what? He benefited from it, so God bless him.
I'm not a conspiracy guy, but are you starting to see a pattern? Stitch, let go from the UFC, great guy. Goldie, let go from the UFC, great guy.
They had a
John
backstage guy.
John Fitch is nuts, but
Great guy.
great guy.
They had a guy, Burt Watson. He was like the got the wrangled the fighters together and got them ready for their walkouts and that, and beloved like Stitch gone. It's getting very, very, very corporate, my friend.
Yeah, but there's not much more you can say about a guy like that. I mean, I think he's 71. I think something like that, and he's with it in it.
Oh yeah.
First of all, anybody who you interview and they reply with your name,
Yes.
times. But how many times we've interviewed somebody
Sure.
and they don't fucking either care or whatever.
I forget your name sometimes.
I mean,
What are you gonna do?
I don't understand why you have CT. You've never been hit in the face. Only with a couple balls.
There he is.
But no, I fucking like you said, no smoke. It was an honor to speak to him.
Yeah.
That's fucking boxing gold, UFC gold.
Yeah.
It's like there's royalty right there, bro.
Yeah, he is. The word legend gets thrown around a lot. He is. He said it. And if you dispute it, you tell me who the person is, who's worked more MMA fights, more boxing matches, who's handled more world champions. Like you heard the and that was so cool to play the message from Vladimir Klitschko.
Right?
Like, come on, dude. Go look at his movies. Go look at the Creed movies, Rocky Balboa.
I didn't see Creed 3 yet.
That's a good movie. What a good franchise that just automatically just like popped up and was like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
But
Well, with that being said, my friend, what do you have to say to the people?
if you just heard us talking to our boy Stitch and you'd rather lay in a ditch than to be a snitch because you ain't no little bitch, then you just listen to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
We out.
Hi. Quiet on the set, please. We need quiet on the set. If you want to see two guys that are more defined, sister's ass.